Kenny, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. They're not listening to me. And I like, yeah. But I already know. I set up his girls.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Not to say all. Alright, so we're here with Kenny Francis. Alright, I would call a stalwart in water polo, around water polo for a very long time. Also did a Hungarian water polo course back in, that would have been about 2002, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it was the IOC program in Hungary.
Olympic Solidarity Program. Right?
Yes, so it was based on sport, and obviously my major would have been water polo, and you know, international. Yeah, it was an international sport course for 3 months.
So tell us a little bit about your experience in that international course that you went to.
Well, at that time, I'll be honest, I was in a learning phase as a coach. All right, I mean, what I knew is just like what the old guys like Horace Govaya and Pee-wee Rocher, what they imparted on to me. So I think the Hungarians, though they give you the best, because it's a big thing for them. It's Semmelweis University. It is still the only English-speaking program for sports on the whole. Anything, any sport, they're there, right? So I actually shared a room with 2 Jamaicans. One was football, one was basketball. And the same apartment block was a Vincentian for track and field, and 2 Bajans for swimming. So you see how wide it was. And you bet a whole, the world was there, English speaking. So India had a large contingent. I met somebody from Colombia, a girl. Next to me was this Englishman, an Argentine, a lot of Africans. So it was great in exposure, getting to know different cultures, and you actually learn about your culture. Because I think what we think as normal, you realize other countries have, because we met our Iranians, fell out with one of them. That was a big thing, and so on. I couldn't believe that they thought we West Indians, we Caribbean people was aggressive. But they found us aggressive. No, what they should ask me is, why? Because we wouldn't back down for their, I don't know if I ever have experience with especially West Africans. They're real aggressive. So when we go shopping and you're looking at something, they'll snatch it out your hand and say, you like it, eh? You like it? I must have it. And they're gone. So initially, some of us was thrown back, you know what I mean? And then we're tied. We have differences, but we have, I would say, a central, kind of thing. So we started laughing at them and whatever in our group, and then treat them badly and thing, because when we'll talk with them and find out what their life was and whatever. So yes, that was something. We were all like, we aggressive, but we cool. And then what another thing, even for the Hungarians, they said that we as a people, the whole of the Caribbean, was more exposed than all the rest who came from India and so on. So like the Bajans was teasing the Indians, and telling them about the caste system, because they had one guy who did all the work for the rest. Alright? Yeah. So, no, actually it was Jamaica, my partner Dennis Martin. Oh God, he was a pest. So he telling them, we're taking photos of the whole group, and he telling them, why don't you come down to the Caribbean? You understand? We don't have no caste system. Plenty rich Indians in the Caribbean. So it's like that though. You just forget them. And the Stephen Davy was the Englishman. He was on spot because he was exposed and exposed to Caribbean people. So he was like tick with us. We had the bad boy section in the back row. And this American facilitator wanted to discuss racism in sport and so on. And Stephen found time to meet the woman and say, don't bring that up, you know. See, them fellas real versed in that, and it wouldn't go nice for you, right? As a white American. So she decided to come with women in sports and end up in a clash with us. You believe that, boy? Yeah. She made a mistake. She was talking about athletes of the century, and I think she was talking about this Gibson woman who played tennis as well as track. All right? And my partner from St. Vincent, Ralston Morgan, converted to Ralston Morgan. He was there for track and field. So he said, no, you're wrong. She didn't take nice to that. So she said, what do you mean? Yes, I know. She said, no, you don't. It was some white athlete from Northern Europe who was pregnant and won medals and so on and with all that. And she was the athlete of the century. So that was the first thing. And then the Bajans jump up and ask her, you know, say, well, you want equal opportunity for women. I must open my door for you. She said in Barbados we have women bus drivers and so on. And they're like, you know, there's a disparity. And that was, she went to complain on us. Couldn't handle that. But anyway, it was good. But my facilitator, main person on water polo was Ferenc Kemme. His son was Danish Kemme, which was the national and one of the most successful national Hungarian coaches. So in that country, basically, Israel old school, father to son goes down that way. You know, so if he was national coach, Fecho, his son followed in the same path, and you see that with the water polo players, the great ones, the son's playing for the national team and that sort of stuff, you know. And so Ferenc was quite advanced, you know, but he gave me some simplistic concepts other than breaking down the tactical skill, all the different levels that players should have, you know. So it opened my mind a lot. And then he will talk about things. He introduced me to zonal defense because Hungary was running it at that time. All right, and he also spoke about the developmental program, which I brought back. And you, Ryan, was the only one that snapped up on it. I always bow to you for that. You had that vision, because that basically was the primary school tournaments and the secondary school tournaments. And they talk about it. They spoke that they don't use swimming as a run-off for polo. They have a polo program, learn to swim into polo, you know, so it's players, it's water polo players and things.
Before we get into this modern era, I want to go back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your first involvement in water polo.
St. Mary's College, I was a swimmer. And some of the sixth formers, we were lower forms, decided they wanted to bring back this water polo. Actually, you know, Joey Kaufman, Joey one day threw a ball in the pool. Well, boy, we went wild, right? And then water polo is so much more exciting than swimming. Let's be, you know, what is your drive for swimming? I want to go Olympics. How much of us is going to reach that? All right? But in water polo, your drive is, I want to be a star boy, scoring goals and, you know, this kind of thing, learn the skill, you know, get a man a body and part, you know, this kind of, the crowd get more involved in it. So we started this thing in St. Mary's, throwing around the ball and so on. But they never had a secondary schools tournament. So after that, I was in EY, I was working in EY. And Ben Absalon, but in the old days, water polo players always have a nickname, all right? So it's Ben Absolutely Nothing Richards. And if you find out how they get the nicknames, they fall long laughing, eh? So his real name is Ben Absalom, which is his Christian name, Richards, but we changed it to it. And Ben started this sweat in UI, basically. And so I was talking to Michael Hernandez earlier on and telling him, we have it in the night after the swimming finish and so on, and it was a knockout. So they have like 4 teams. We make up teams, whoever there, right? And if you win, you stay in. If you lose, you knock out. But you can't win more than twice. You're bun, you're roasted. So that was the fun. And the nice thing was, it was open to anyone. You understand what I mean by that? So you don't have to be a YMCA, or YMCA wasn't a club in that sense. So all national players could come and run a sweat. And so that helped improve our game. All right? Olympians came. Paul Nualo came to run a sweat. Weak people, strong people. And then the girls started to, Elsa Govaya was the one who first come to play with us. All right? Because remember, Flying Fish background was originally water polo. Because Terry Samuel is one of the old greats water polo swimmer. So he formed that club. And so, you know, and well, Ben kind of remind me of you, which is that ability to organize and push things. So we started a tournament in UI. So we make up teams. Like Ben's team was Benny and the Jets, and then we had a Saturday sweat too, which is non-stop till about 2 o'clock. Playing, you just playing. And we had I know you're young, had a posy, you know, I don't know, right, metal posy, and it was awarded to the person who played. We had to be civil in this one, right? Well, Benny's name was embossed in that part. Right? Yeah, that was the start and my introduction. You know, Horace and I were always close, so he would give me pointers and so on. You know, hey, I don't remember this. I didn't go, but Grenada under Eric Gary used to have an Easter parade. I don't know if you all Trinidadians know about that. And Pee-wee de Rocher, Owen, and his sister Shelley organized for a team to go Grenada to play water polo. All right, and they went in one of those boats in, you know, on the port down there that travel up the Caribbean or whatever. What is it called them? No, not the ferry. They bring in vegetables and things. Them little cargo, old. Right, YMCA went up on one of those boats. Right, going up on the deck, kind of thing. They have no cabins, nothing. And played against they have a university medical across there. It was Americans. I remember when they had the revolution, America came to save those students and things. So that was YMCA's first introduction.
The international competition.
Yes, all right. So we had a fantastic goalie, Eddie. Eddie nickname was Wiley. Now, think Tasmanian Devil.
Yes, okay.
All right. You know, fast and thing, extreme reflexes, fast reflexes, but small. So anybody shooting close in, bam, ball gone out, you know, kind of thing. Well, Eddie jumped up to stop an American shot and got knocked out, about hit him in his face. And they had to run and dive in because the tournament was held in the sea with a barge as a background. That was the field of play, right? So when he got knocked out, it's deep water, you know, so they had to save him. So we had things like that. And another memorable thing was Horace Govaya. Those were the days when skill was a big thing. So Horace, if I'm playing with Horace, but you know these players playing so long, they know each other, and I know Horace. So Horace would drive and then stop. I follow him and he drive, and I float coming through. I'm not doing a hard pass, a floating pass, right high. As he stopped, the ball must drop right there, and next thing it's inside the goalpost. So he didn't do no, just flick his wrist. And Eric said was so impressed. He says he couldn't see the goal. Just ball in the back of the net, you know. So he had a dinner for Trinidad to come just to talk and shake Horace's hand. That's how big it was. Yeah, that was
So Grenada was involved in water polo.
Huh?
At that time, Grenada was involved. Or
No.
was it the Americans?
Well, he's having his Easter thing celebration in Grenada. So it's to get people. That's like how we'll have carnival.
Right.
So it's just to get they just made up that whole thing with the badge and all that, to have an extra something for people to come and see on the beach and so on.
Okay. All right. What achievements would you say were made in those early days in water polo?
Well, ASAT kind of recognized that they had a resurgence, because then Benny organized a tournament. I remember the tournament well. YMCA was the most dominant because we had swimmers, Paul Nualo. The only pool available was St. Mary's, so it's shallow. But I don't know if you know, Paul was a national, he made Olympics for breaststroke. So even in the shallow water, he'll get out with his trunks out the water, and the referee always blowing him for standing, jumping off the ground. All right? And Alan Tofu, Pee-wee de Rocher, I have to go back to Pee-wee. When Cuba was Hungarian trained, I think it was a CAC tournament or something like that. Cuba came with 7 players and beat everybody.
No substitute.
No substitute, all right? Hungarian trained. And they were unstoppable. They're still famous. It's right now in the history of water polo. But the only team that scored was Trinidad. And Pee-wee de Rocher scored that goal. All right, so his technique was this, even from the half line, he will scoop up the ball. It wasn't no traditional shot, overhead kind of thing. It was a straight arm, and he will zing that ball, and just like them Brazilians, when they you know, a left foot kick and you see the ball curling, the ball used to curl. So when the goalie go up, you think it going in this corner and it curl into the next corner, it going straight in the corners. So that's how, right? Remember I told you Pee-wee was it. Alan perfected that shot. He got that shot in. So anytime we under pressure, he would shoot from the half. All right, with that. Anyway, we meet these old fellas. Glenn Wilkes, Herbert Dash, that was the greats. Well, old man, you know. What's his name again? Gordon Board, right? Gordon Board. Trying to remember the team. You know, them fellas slow down the game. Pip, tip. I remember marking Herbert Dash used to call me a Velcro, was stuck on you jamming, you can't breathe. The ball in the net, and I still on top of Herbert Dash. From the bleachers, I hear, Kenny, the golden score, boy, leave the man alone. And I look back at the ball in the net. Right. So I remember the father coming from ASAT and asking Benny to let's bring back water polo. And that was the start of everything. And then Alan Tofu took over. All right? We used to sweat in Benny's pool. It's no longer there where BPTT was a hotel and they had a pool, and Benny had his program there. So we used to come in nights and run games and so on. And water polo slowly but surely came back in. But I don't think, I would say, due to you, Ryan, and getting Curacao to come down here, that was the changing point in water polo in Trinidad. All right, so Curacao was more exposed than us, and we learned a lot from playing them. Now in polo, you don't play. It's not in your interest to play a team lower than you. For you to get better, you always play a better team or on the same level. But so for Curacao to sacrifice to come and play Trinidad, where we didn't know anything was I would think, and you were the person I remember specifically that got in touch. I don't know how, and got Curacao and how you get them committed to do that.
You remember better than me.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. What I mean, I must know, because I was with you then with Royhil, all right. And next thing we play in water polo. I mean Curacao, and Curacao will come down, and then quickly we accelerated and got past them. Because I guess we have more resources, more population, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Next question. So what was, in the early days, what was the relationship between ASAT and water polo? What kind of relationship?
Like what early days? Like the 1950s?
Early days, well, from your early days.
Well, I want you to... ASAT was, I think FINA gave the directive to ASAT on that development of water polo in Trinidad, because we have a history. We have a history. It's not like this was a new sport to us, All right? So in the 1950s, water polo was it. I remember my father-in-law telling me, much older than me, that the big thing, water polo was played in yacht club in the sea. And they'll have radio commentary as the game going on. So people listening to the radio about water polo, they maybe understand that. Copper fins, tiger sharks. They had a good number of teams, but I think copper fins was the most dominant one, and then after tiger shark. But I think tiger sharks came a little later. They had men, Terry Samuel, Mervyn Marquez, Red Zagard, boy, that's one of the greatest. The big guys, the defense. Let me just... John Gatcliffe, Hadid, that's the names, right? Two of them, remember when I told you those old guys beat us? He was playing that game. Man, he down in the shallow hole of the game, but you can't get past him. Kind of scene. But they also held posts in ASAT.
Right.
So Terry Samuel was a swimmer. Mervyn Marquez was, like vice president. They held the highest things in ASAT. So I guess water polo was dominant. It's only till Joey Kaufman arrived into Trinidad from Guyana that Joey pushed and introduced age group swimming to develop the sport. All right, so mostly there's these old guys, whoever age and thing with swimming. Gatcliffe, see his name, I think, on Cross Harbor and so on. All right, Joey wasn't interested in water polo.
Okay.
All right, I don't even know Jeffrey Ferreira. All right, Jeffrey Ferreira was, I think, our first Olympian. I might be wrong. Don't hold me on that. He broke a record in the States for 100 fly. He made Olympics, qualified for Olympics in 100 fly. Call him Big Jeff. I tell you, all the polo players had nicknames. That Foots, Pee Wee, Bop. I remember Span, Kojak. Right? Even swimmers had nicknames, kind of thing like that. Horsey. Horsey's an ex-old player. Scroogey, that's Jeffrey Ferdinand. Right, anyway, throw that aside. So, water polo got thrown out that way. That was a dead period.
So would you say that was the cause of the collapse of that era of water polo?
Yeah, I would think so.
And I think there was another era as well that it brought back and then collapsed again.
No, all right. Let's talk about flying fish. Terry Samuel. So flying fish had as swimmers Foots, Pee Wee, Horace. Can't remember. I remember an old short guy, and he ended up being a coach for swimming. But they draw on that water polo crowd and brought them into swimming. Because remember, pool players fast, yeah? Like that Foots. Foots was tempo boy, and he had two big foot and you know, real top sprinter. So I think Robinson was his last name, I can't remember. You wouldn't have know the guys' names. You know what I mean? One of the greats is Shaki. You know what Shaki full name is? Huh? Kenneth Oxley Barnwell. I have to say it, you know, Kenneth Oxley Barnwell. But the whole world, because he ended up being trainer champions, the bodybuilding scene and so on, as a YMCA man, it's Shaki. Alright? Horse was Keith the hair. You know what I mean? I had to gauge the weight, right? So, but in the whole swimming scene, that is horse. Horsey, you know. Swimming was exciting too. I mean, I was there when Joey, I remember just like you, Joey is the organizer. He's getting everything. And Dolphins was the most dominant club at one time. And we produce a lot of the national swimmers who at that time Canada used to get scholarships. They were in Canada studying. Right, Big Jeff. Alright, Big Jeff started Polo, I wanted to tell you that first. And you see where he ended up, right? In Olympics for Trinidad. I think at 16 or so they brought him over into the swimming. Poached him. Alright? But that's Joey. And one of the greatest swim meets I've ever, and it's stuck in my brain, was a triangular meet with Barbados, Venezuela, and Trinidad. And it was Big Jeff against Guaycochea, and some tougher Venezuelans that were Olympians too. It was fantastic. And then they had a coaches race, I'll never forget this. Lil Page, Joey, well, Flying Fish, right? Venezuelan coaches and everything. And I was going to tell you, in that swim meet, they brought in the greats. So the top breaststroker was a Phillips boy, Randy. The best national, he came from Canada. George Bovell. Not George the second, George the first. You know, he qualified for Olympics, right? Big Jeff and Royal Pungkong, that was the best Trinidad had. So they had a relay against the best of Venezuela. Barbados was just, all right, the coach was the best swimmer, Farmer. He was like, you know, yeah.
So it sounds like water polo and swimming didn't really coexist as much. So like swimming kind of took away from water polo.
Right. But you see, you have to understand, we didn't have a model, like let's say Hungary, and that's what I said, and I give that to you. All right, you're not using swimmers, you're developing your polo players. So we won't have to be sharing the athlete then, pulling and tugging. But in those days, that's what I remember, those same first 1950s fellas was swimmers as well, all of them. All right, so hence, we didn't have our own pool, but that is changing now. That is changing now. So
I think that's what caused the sustenance of water polo in this current era that we're in.
And vision. I was talking to Andrew Francis, and Andrew was on the right. It's things I remember, and Bronson Hackshaw, I remember they were like coach and assistant coach. They were training in the mornings. That I'm not well, so I try to get in a day or two of swimming in the mornings kind of scene. And I saw the national team training. It was amazing because it was a philosophy that I spoke up about originally. We need to have a constant national team. All right, that's how Hungary stays up. They're not going to, at the last minute, have trials and pick this one and pick this one, and then politics jump in. I experienced that as a national coach. I went Pan Am Juniors, and my superior on the pool deck telling me I must choose this boy to be the captain. I look at him and say, I hear you. He thought that meant yes. And when the time came, I picked my captain. And that was it. I get blacklisted. I went against one of the powerhouses in the political swimming scenario. And you know what I mean, but we can't talk that now. And that's why if we have a training team, and if this is how the Hungarians do it, they have a constant team, you're not guaranteed on the team. If somebody come up there, all right, and do better than you, you're gone, eh? So if you miss workouts and so on, we don't have the volume for that. That's the problem. But with Royhil's program and so on, and we could get more and more involved, it could be more selective, you know, we could have a constant, but again, they have a very strong water polo association. It's stronger than the swimming. They have their own office.
Because water polo is a national sport.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I went in the office and so on. That's where I had to go in the lecture room and all that. You know, so they have national coach, which was Danish, Kemi, paid. Right, so the team is much better knit together. All right, and the Water Polo Association have enough power that if some coach wants to be beaten up and want his way and don't want his swimmer, his player not to play, well, you get penalized. So everybody knows to walk that straight line, right? But they have no biasness. It is a paid group of people. It's no volunteer. You would know, right? Yes, you would. My background is working with the challenge. I'm one of the first Special Olympic coaches in Trinidad and Tobago. I've worked with the paraplegics, school for the blind, the whole gambit, all right? And one of the failures in that system is volunteers. Because you have somebody volunteering their time, they're not committed to you, are they? And one, they don't have to listen to you. So if you say this behavior is not, I say, helping this child, let's just say, you know, you can't control them. They'll continue, as we say in the handicap field, practice makes what? Yes, you remember that one? Right, practice makes permanent. So that's why this is one of the things I find at Polo. We need to reach that level. I can't say how, and I would say we need more than Royhil, because Marlin's contribution. Anyway, I can't get in trouble. It's like who's the head, and it's a political drama kind of thing, right? And same thing like they're telling me who I have to pick as captain. All right, so that person, you know, the family wants him to look good. No, you want the right person to hold the position. A captain in a water polo team is vital in bonding and you know, team spirit. It's a, you know, it's a serious job. And well, I kind of strain, but yes, we need, and I always tell you, Ryan, we need like Tobago involved. The water polo is just centralized up here. I can't, you've always been the one trying to run the programs, like coaching programs and refereeing programs. I was coming up with Michael Hernandez, and I'm shocked at the level he has reached as a referee, an international referee from Trinidad. That's big, but that was due to the programs that you started up. But I haven't seen those people that came to these coaching programs. They haven't done anything with it, which is a failure. So maybe we need some sort of backup to help them get on their legs, kind of thing. Because remember, they starting on a clean slate. They won't have swimmers, they won't have, but we have pools. We have a pool in Laventille, we have a pool in Mova, and all the major counties in Trinidad, they have pools. So I know the government will say they don't, you know, but they have to have some coordination to get used, and because I find these pools, I've worked in the system, they're underused. Right, and you know, they're just putting out money maintaining these pools. Let it be used. You know.
All right, Kenny. Last question. What would you say is or was the greatest period of water polo in Trinidad and Tobago?
Nah, you asking me a question I can't answer. All right, because we don't get people listening to a radio like when West Indies was powerful.
Yeah.
You know, it had no TV coverage and thing, you know, 3Ws and so on. But people on the radio, everybody, remember, I just saw a video of the Bajan Prime Minister, Otley, saying when the headmistress looking for them, they're under the stairs with a radio listening to West Indies play cricket. Right, we have to get the public, help me with what?
Involved again.
I wouldn't say they have to get excited. All right, because water polo is an exciting sport. You know, problem is people don't know the rules and so on. It's not that popular. But and you bring anybody and put them to watch a water polo, they're off the thing, you know. Especially if they're back in a team. All right, and they want to beat referee and so on. All right, that tells you the emotional aspect of, you know, what the game brings out. You know, parents screaming and all kind of thing. But people. All right, just like football, you know, but that's what Trinidad is about. But swimming, how much people go in, like spectators, to watch a swim meet?
Well, basically the parents.
Yes, that's the parents. I wanted to, I put it at him, I wanted to say that. But no, all right? But you don't know who's swimming. You know, the swim twice is 100.
No.
Race done. Okay, who's that person who win, right? But water polo is basically football in water, and football, you know, is constant, it's active. You're seeing fouls, you're seeing, you know, depends on the skill level of the team. You see how I get a dummy, and you're going that way and you're going this way, you know, it's kind of scene. You know, last minute, I mean, I was there in Mexico when I was the coach when we played against Puerto Rico, all right? And the last minute of the game.
Last 7 seconds.
Yeah. And Mikel Lamont, hey boy, that was keeper, eh? Pull down the ball and use a zonal and block them out. So they had to shoot from the outside. And instead of they play with the ball at the 7 seconds go, they take the shot because they're confident now. Lamont get the ball. And we started driving them. And we had a little boo-boo at that moment, you know. And the ball, actually seen the ball floating in the air going to the goalpost. And like the whole crowd went, and it hit the top of the post and just dropped, brap, boy, oh God, and the whistle went. And that would have been it for us. Right, because the Puerto Rican coach came and talked to me, he said, Kenny boy, if you had scored that goal, I wasn't playing the yeah, that to replay the game. Yeah, you say I couldn't put my players through that because Mexico was hell with the breathing and so on, you know. But that kind of excitement.
All right. So, Kenny, what advice would you give upcoming coaches and players, you know, who want to get involved in water polo?
Well, you see, I kind of discussed everything. It all has to be done in development. If it's coaches. Coaches, learn the sport, learn the rules is important. It keeps changing. All right, and I mean, I remember when you got Diamond Vale to compete in secondary schools water polo, and their coach losing it and start to make obscene comments and things on the deck.
Primary schools water polo.
It was primary?
It was primary, yes.
It was primary?
Diamond Vale government is a primary school, so yes.
No, that's a secondary, that one there. Diego Martin, right, sorry. And my daughter was playing for Convent, and she was tall. And everyone said, check her birth certificate, they're cheating. And because she couldn't understand what the referees was blowing. And she thought, but obviously she didn't coach her children properly. All right, and the rules of the game, how do you know that? If you don't know the rules, all right? If you don't know the rules, if you know, but that's a Trini thing, eh? They think everything is easy, they jump in and they feel they could do it. All right, and one of the things I found in my time as a swimmer, we the swimmers used to say, if you could keep parents and politics out of swimming, it will go further. I don't know how to do that, but I think if you're forming a club, you have to have a vision, and that vision has to be put down. And what's the other corporate thing they use is vision and something statement. Mission statement. That is important. All right? So you have to let people coming in understand you don't know the game. You drop your child here, we will handle it. All right. Now, kids, you give any boy or girl a ball, all right, and they go on wild, especially in the water. So swimming is important. So whatever program started up must have some basis in the learn to swim aspect, because swimming is played in deep water. It's not where you could stand. But the primary school aspect at the start is in a shallow pool, which gives them the confidence and get comfortable in the water, so the next rounds is easy. But I don't think there's much. But if you're a swimmer, I mean, if you're a polo player, sorry, I keep saying that because I too caught up in anything. You have, the swimming has got to be competent. You don't have to be world level or competitive level, all right? But you have to be a certain, so develop that as well. And it's important, but it's a hard thing. I find the clubs should provide the ability to buy a ball. Because the Hungarians say the ball is your friend. And when I cross there, going in a sports store, see a daddy walking with his son and checking all the balls, all the brands, to make sure you get the right ball for his water polo ball. And the boy hugging it up and going, oh, the ball is his friend. I remember going Barbados with the water polo team, and Isaac Board, God rest his soul, and Jogan Miller. I remember that's one thing I must admire. When those boys started from QRC, and I mean the level they reach, and we in the bedroom, and Isaac just hitting the ball, lying down and hitting the ball on the wall, and just working on his wrist movements, and you know that is important. So it's not only in the water. Just like basketball, the skills, one-hand skills with a ball is very important.
Okay, Kenny Francis, I want to thank you very much for interviewing with us today.
My pleasure.
It's been our pleasure, and hearing all of these stories, some of which I heard before and some very new to me, so thank you very much.
I have more to tell you, my brother.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. That's okay.